The difference has been Mahomes and Lamar. And it's not just that Mahomes is better than Lamar. Mahomes is better than everybody in the last 20 years not named Tom Brady. It's that Lamar falls off a cliff against Kansas City. And you know I love Lamar. I've been saying this forever. This is a Hall of Famer. But when these two meet head-to-head, Lamar can't complete 56% of his throws. His passer rating is like CFL. And this is one of the most gifted quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life. What the hell happens? So clearly this rivalry, it's not about the coaches, not about the owners, not about the draft picks, not about the defense. It's been about Lamar regressing. Why? So let's start with this. Mahomes is a better player. Okay, he's better than everybody. He's better than everybody not named Brady in the last 2 decades. He's better than everybody. But why is he falling off a cliff? And let me theorize why I believe this to be. So Lamar Jackson is 20-1. That doesn't even make sense against the NFC. And I mean, he's blown the doors off teams like good Detroit, San Francisco. He's 20-1 against the NFC. Why? Because if you don't face Lamar Jackson regularly, it's like growing up in San Diego and trying to drive on ice. You can read a manual. It's not going to work. You got to be on ice, driving on that ice in Milwaukee and Minnesota for years to figure it out. That hyper speed is like nothing we've seen. It's like Michael Vick, but way faster, way twitchier. It's like being a parent. Your grandparents give you a heads up, your neighbors, your friends. Yet Dr. Spock didn't give you a heads up on the smells of it. And so if you've never faced Lamar or faced him infrequently, there's nothing like him. You have nobody on your roster to duplicate him. But if you face him regularly, I had a GM tell me this years ago, you get him a second time in a season, and Steve Spagnuolo now faces him on a fairly regular basis, you can have game plan for him. But you couldn't game plan for Brady, and you can't game plan for Mahomes. Because what makes Brady and Mahomes so brilliant, you took away the deep ball from Mahomes. He's like, okay, death by 1,000 cuts. You took away Randy Moss from Brady. Okay, it's death by 1,000 cuts. Is that both Mahomes and Brady have a second pitch, a third pitch, a fourth pitch. And that's why they're the two greatest quarterbacks, in my opinion, of all time. Nolan Ryan had a great fastball. And if it was humming, we may get a no-hitter. But he won 52% of his games. Clayton Kershaw didn't throw that hard. He went over 60, right? And didn't have all the no-hitters. And so I think what Lamar is developing, and I've always said he's a better passer than he gets credit for. I watch the games, you watch the games. It's not a liability. But Brady and Mahomes have mastered the pocket to a level that, I mean, there's only a couple people like a Peyton Manning, a Marino, and Elway that even rival it. An Aaron Rodgers, a Marino. I mean, there's just a handful of Breeze, handful of guys ever that have rivaled it. And so that's what's fascinating about Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. It's not that Mahomes is winning. It's that Lamar falls off a cliff. And it does appear, I'm not saying Lamar's Nolan Ryan, but it does kind of feel like if Lamar's run game is implemented and humming, lights out. If you can slow that down, if you're hitting the fastball, it doesn't feel quite the same. And I think that's been the secret sauce for Kansas City is the frequency in which they see him. Right? The frequency. There's a bit of a game plan. There is no game plan for Brady. There is no game plan for Mahomes. There is none. He may not run the entire game. Fourth quarter, bad wheels, takes off 45 yards. There's no game plan for him. And that's why he keeps both of them, Brady, Mahomes, keep hoisting trophies. All right, so the last episode of Hard Knocks last night with the Chicago Bears. Final episode. So what makes the Bears and Caleb Williams so fascinating, I'm looking at all these 1 o'clock games Sunday. Titans, Bears, I'm locked. I may not even go red zone. I may just turn that thing on and watch every play. Like, it is fantastic. And what makes Chicago so fascinating is that they've done virtually, no, it's not virtually, they've done the impossible in the NFL. They've never had a great quarterback ever for an extended period. The Chargers, they're chargering. They've had Rivers, they got Herbert, they had Breeze, they had Fouts. Niners have had 4 or 5. Packers have had 4 or 5. Eagles have had 3 or 4 or 5. Bears, none. Never had a single quarterback ever throw for over 4,000 yards. That's like being a casino and never making money. People go to your casino and give you money. The casino always wins. 100 years running a casino. Yeah, we never made a profit. How do you not have one quarterback ever that's thrown for 4,000 yards? They don't have a quarterback that's ever thrown for over 30 touchdowns. Even Blake Bortles did that in Jacksonville. What the hell's going on with Chicago? Well, it's the weather. No, it's not, because Green Bay and Buffalo had it all the time. What it is, it's cultural. It's systemic. And I'll give you an example. So when they hired a coach years ago, as the league's pivoting to offense, the rules are all offense. The oldest owner in the NFL, Mrs. McCaskey, who does she rely on? Bill Polian, 80 years old. I love Bill. I know Bill. But Bill, old school, let's go with a defensive coach. Jeffrey Lurie, produced a lot of movies in Hollywood. Jeffrey Lurie, if you look at his businesses, always on the cutting edge. He just keeps hiring offensive coaches, getting quarterbacks, offensive coaches, mobile quarterbacks, offensive coaches. You look at Stan Kroenke, again, L.A., a lot of business, cutting edge of stuff. Let's go hire Sean McVay, 30 years old. Les Snead, young GM. They're constantly moving. They're kind of progressive creators. Jeffrey Lurie, Stan Kroenke, always trying new stuff, but they have their values. They have their formulas like everybody else. So to win in Chicago isn't just about being really talented. Caleb Williams, and it's unfair, will have to be transformational. Because the oldest owner, they're still celebrating the 1985 Chicago Bears. The Bears have done virtually the impossible. They're a casino that doesn't make money. How in the world can you not, one time, have quarterback throw for 35 touchdowns? All the rules have changed. How? Well, you do it when you're clinging to the past. You do it when you celebrate a team from 1985. That's what Caleb Williams will have to overcome. Moratorium on celebrating the 85 Bears. It's enough. It's great. Let's move past that. I mean, the Rams aren't even celebrating their title team from 3 years ago in L.A. Like, they moved on from Aaron Donald. They moved on. They don't talk about it. It's the next thing. So good luck to Caleb Williams. He's going to need it, because it is incredible. When you look at this league, you sometimes you think, all these billionaire owners, it's not the way it works. It's not even with coaches, GMs, quarterbacks, or owners, or ownership groups. It's not even. I don't care if it's fair. They may all be billionaires. They're different. And Chicago's been like different